Why did my uncle cut my entire family out of his life after Thanksgiving dinner? My Uncle Brian was always the weird one in our family. Never married, lived alone in this tiny apartment across town, worked at the post office for 30 years delivering mail. He'd show up to every holiday dinner with the same plastic container of store-bought sugar cookies from the grocery store. Everyone would smile and say thanks, then immediately start whispering about how sad and pathetic his life was. Mom would shake her head and say, "Poor Brian, he just never figured life out like the rest of us." My dad would joke that Brian was still waiting for his mail-order bride to arrive in the mail. My aunt would make snide comments about how he needed to get a real job and stop playing house in that cramped apartment. But Brian always seemed genuinely happy. He'd tell us detailed stories about his stamp collection, his weekend hiking trips in the mountains, his volunteer work at the local animal shelter. We'd all nod politely, then immediately change the subject to something more interesting. This past Thanksgiving, Brian was running really late. We were already halfway through eating when he finally showed up, looking more excited about something than I'd seen him in years. "Sorry I'm late, everyone," he said, practically bouncing on his feet. "I had to finish getting everything ready for tomorrow's big day." My cousin Lisa asked what was happening tomorrow, and Brian's whole face lit up like Christmas morning. "I'm proposing to Rebecca," he announced proudly. "We've been dating for 2 years now. I finally saved up enough money for the perfect ring." The entire dinner table went completely silent, like dead silent. My mom's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. Dad's beer can froze in midair. "Rebecca?" my dad asked slowly. "Who exactly is Rebecca?" Brian looked genuinely confused by the question. "My girlfriend? I've mentioned her like 100 times over the past 2 years. We met volunteering at the animal shelter. She's a veterinarian." More awkward silence. Then my aunt started laughing. Not a nice laugh. That mean, condescending laugh she does when she thinks something's completely ridiculous. "Brian, honey," she said in that fake sweet voice, "we all know you don't actually have a girlfriend. You don't need to make up stories to impress us." Brian's excited smile completely disappeared. "I'm not making anything up. Rebecca and I have been together for 2 years. That's when my dad decided to be helpful in the worst way possible. Look, buddy, it's okay to be lonely, but pretending you have some imaginary girlfriend isn't healthy behavior." My mom nodded along enthusiastically. "We've all been really worried about you living in that fantasy world." Brian just stood there, staring at all of us in complete shock. Then he pulled out his phone and started scrolling through pictures. "This is Rebecca. Here we are hiking last month. This is her at my apartment making dinner last weekend." The photos were completely real. A beautiful woman with dark hair, laughing with Brian, kissing his cheek, wearing his oversized jacket at a campsite. My cousin grabbed his phone to look closer. "Oh my god, he really does have a girlfriend." That's when my uncle's entire expression changed, like something horrible clicked in his brain. "You all genuinely thought I was lying," he said quietly. "For 2 entire years, every single time I mentioned Rebecca, you thought I was making her up." My mom tried desperately to backtrack. "Well, you never actually brought her around to meet us." "I invited all of you to meet her 6 different times," Brian said, his voice getting louder. "Birthday dinners, backyard barbecues, movie nights at my place. Every single one of you had some convenient excuse." The table got really uncomfortable. My dad cleared his throat nervously. "Well, why don't you bring her to Christmas dinner this year?" Brian was already putting his phone away and grabbing his jacket. "You want to know the real reason I never brought Rebecca around? Because I was protecting her from this, from you people who think so little of me that you assumed I was completely delusional." He started walking toward the front door, then turned back to face all of us. "Rebecca didn't want to come today because she was nervous about meeting my family for the first time. I told her you were all wonderful people who would love her immediately." My mom reached desperately for his arm. "Brian, please don't be so dramatic about this." He pulled away from her. "I'm getting married tomorrow afternoon. Small ceremony, just her family and a few close friends. People who actually believe I'm capable of being loved." He walked toward the door, then stopped and turned back one final time. "I spent 2 years telling Rebecca how much my family meant to me, how excited I was for her to finally meet you all. She kept asking why you never wanted to meet her. I made excuses because I couldn't admit the truth." "What truth?" my dad asked. "That my own family thinks I'm such a pathetic loser that they couldn't imagine anyone actually wanting to be with me." Brian left and slammed the door. The rest of dinner was completely silent. We found out through Facebook that he got married. Rebecca looked absolutely beautiful. Brian looked happier than I'd ever seen him in my entire life. 6 months later, they bought a house together, had a big housewarming party, invited everyone in town except us. That was 3 years ago. None of us have heard from Uncle Brian since that Thanksgiving.